Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Flying solo as of the moment. I believe Emilio will be joining us shortly. Tim is on assignment, aka dinner with the wife, I believe. So he will not be in with us tonight. And we got a lot of stuff to dive into. Really, really excited about tonight's show. We're going to give you guys an injury report update and a little bad news on Jaden Reed. Not horrible news, but I think I know I got my hopes up. I don't want to speak for everyone in the chat, but got my hopes up. Jaden Reed will be back at practice. We'll give you that update in terms of the injury report, the practice report. We're also going to do a Packers-Vikings early preview. We'll dive into that as the week goes along a little bit deeper, but we're going to give you kind of just the surface level stuff, the point spread, how they rank up in terms of PFF, all that good stuff. And then we're also going to talk a little Chicago Bears, just a little touch of Chicago Bears because, man, oh, man, is social media running wild. Bears fans think they are going to the Super Bowl. Packers fans think they are frauds. We'll talk about whether the truth lies somewhere in the middle or not, and we'll dive into that. We also got our first ever PTA power rankings that we posted on our Patreon group, and I'm going to kind of go through those. I just did a top 10 power rankings list, and I'll explain how I came up with that power ranking list. Again, it's not my personal opinion. I'm just using data that I think is most important and going in that regard. And then, of course, we'll wrap up a little Keyshawn Nixon talk, who continues to play pretty damn well this year, man. I'm excited to see how he finishes here in the back half of the season. Before we get into all that, if you would, do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you click subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. I know the chat is already on fire. Appreciate everybody in here, as Jen says. That's right, Jen. We got CVS length receipts for this Vikings game coming up, and then the Bears as well. Man, if the Bears don't win the whole damn thing, boy, they're going to look like a bunch of morons because they think they have got this thing licked. And boy, we're going to talk about the rest of their schedule here on the back half of the show, and it gets ugly quick. But before we do, let's jump into the injury report and the Packers-Vikings preview here. So Paul Brettel put this tweet out, a little clip from practice here. I can make sure it's muted. You see Emmanuel Wilson out there taking some reps, obviously not practicing today, or Quay Walker with the stinger, Josh Jacobs with the knee, Nate Hobbs with the knee, Savion Williams with the foot, and Carl Brooks is unknown. So maybe Savion will be like last week, let him rest all week, and then he's active on Sunday. I'm hoping that's the case because, as we've seen, man, he made a huge play. I can't wait till he's fully healthy and get him running some more extended routes in the offense as opposed to just the jet sweeps, things like that, because that third down conversion that he had just going up and getting that 50-50 ball from Jordan Love there in the fourth quarter was absolutely huge. I mean, it was such a huge play. Quay Walker with the stinger. We'll see how that progresses as the week goes along. You're going to want him for the Vikings for sure against their running attack. J.J. McCarthy, I'm not as concerned about. We'll talk about him here in a second. But Josh Jacobs' knee, it's going to come down to being, like Matt LaFleur said, day to day. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays this Sunday. I also wouldn't be surprised if they sit him. It just depends on how the swelling goes and whether or not it goes down, sooner rather than later, obviously. Nate Hobbs, knee injury, don't expect him to be back for this one. I think he'll be sitting out at least another game. And then, of course, we talked about Savion. Carl Brooks, his injury was unknown as of the moment. And then I believe we've actually got the updated injury report. Let's see if it pops up on this one here. Jacob Morley, shout out to him. He tweeted this out earlier. We'll go straight to the image here. Maybe got to watch those comments and these tweets for sure. All right, so let's see what we got here. Carl Brooks did not participate. They're saying it's an ankle. Okay, so that is a legit injury. It's not like a sickness or maybe a veteran rest day or anything like that, right? He's got an ankle injury. That's a little bit concerning. Also did not participate, like we said, Nate Hobbs, Josh Jacobs, Quay Walker. So we got all those covered. Savion, the whole 9 yards, right? Limited, Javon Buller, Edgerrin Cooper, Romeo Dobbs, Matthew Golden, as well as Keyshawn Nixon, Micah Parsons, Zach Tom, LVN, Christian Watson, Dontavion Wicks, and Savion Williams. I would imagine LVN's going to be playing this week. I kind of feel like they were holding him out last week and going to put him in the lineup here for this matchup against the Vikings. I hope that's the case because, as we pointed out, according to NFL Pro and Next Gen Stats with GPS tracking data, he's got a 14% quarterback pressure percentage. That's I think third on the league behind Micah's number 1, Rashawn Gary's number 2 at like 12.5%. I'm sorry, Rashawn Gary is number 3. So LVN is second amongst defensive linemen / edge defenders in terms of quarterback pressure percentage. So it's Micah 1, LVN 2, and Rashawn Gary 3 is how that lines up. And of course, they've been giving Enigbari a lot more snaps, and Matt LaFleur kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, said he's not a real big snap guy. I know some of the media is running with it, and they're kind of looking at it like the writing's on the wall for Rashawn Gary. I said my piece on that yesterday. Started the season off really, really strong. Seems to be tapering off a little bit. We'll see if he can get his feet back under him. Still leads all of our defensive linemen, including I don't know if Micah Parsons, because he's listed as a linebacker on NFL Pro, but he definitely leads all the other defensive linemen in run stops. So he's still very effective against the run, which we've got a solid run defense this year. However, getting to the quarterback, he's definitely in a slump in that regard, right? So there are your injury report updates. Okay. Now you've got a couple full participations there. Jordan Love, Brandon McManus being back full participation makes you think, okay, he'll probably kick this week. And I know there's a lot of people that were upset about that on social media. We'll see how that plays out. Now on the Vikings side, Christian Darrisaw with the knee, full participation. Will Fries, knee injury, did not participate. That was that free agent guard they signed, right? If I remember correctly, he was a center, I believe, in Indianapolis. I think that's right. And then they moved him to guard. I could be wrong there. Double check me on that. Jonathan Grenard, outside linebacker / edge defender. Shoulder did not participate. Aaron Jones, senior running back. Oh, Jonesy, full participation. He's good to go. And Ryan Kelly, center. That's the guy they signed in free agency, wasn't it? Maybe they signed them both, but I think Ryan Kelly was the center in Indy. So he was full participation. He had a concussion last week. So it looks like when it says full participation on Wednesday as opposed to limited, he's probably already cleared the concussion protocol, or at least on the backside of that. So that is your Minnesota Vikings injury report and update there. Now let's move it along. Let's talk a little bit about the quarterback we're going to be facing this week. Some of you guys and gals know him as Nine. I believe he knows himself as Nine, which is kind of strange, to be honest with you. When you got to nickname yourself, it's like I always say, if you have to say something positive about yourself, it's probably not true. If someone says, "Oh yeah, I'm really good at this," or "Yeah, that's what I do really, really well." If you're the one having to say it, nobody else is, probably on you. So when you got to create this persona, yeah, I'm Nine when I'm on the field. Boy, it's went downhill since then. That's for sure. But I wanted to do this little comp here. I've seen this image come across social media. I don't know who created the image because there were several people posting it. If you guys know who it is, give them a shout out in the comments here so we can give them credit where credit's due. I just said, damn. J.J. McCarthy and Zach Wilson side by side. All right. Through their first 5 games, Zach Wilson had 1,117 yards passing. You're thinking, man, those are bad numbers, right? J.J. McCarthy, 842. All right. Touchdowns. J.J. McCarthy has the slight edge over Zach Wilson at 6 touchdowns to Zach Wilson's 4. Interceptions, J.J. McCarthy, 8 interceptions. Zach Wilson had 9. However, Zach Wilson was a little more, actually significantly more accurate with the football. 57.3% completion percentage. J.J. McCarthy, 52.9. Now, immediately you go, okay, are they dropping passes? Listen, if the media is going to prop up the Vikings like they did all offseason to talk about they got the best weapons in the game, they've got Justin Jefferson, they got Jordan Addison, they got Hawkinson, they got all these great pass catchers. When the chosen first-round pick quarterback finally gets his shot to shine and he's got a 52.9% completion percentage, you better keep that same energy. Don't be telling me all the receivers are playing bad. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me that Justin Jefferson's out there frustrated for no reason. If you guys have seen that, boy, oh boy, did he look pissed off there last week in that Vikings game. So, again, J.J. McCarthy playing like Cheeks as of the moment. Does that mean he's going to play like Cheeks at Lambeau? Absolutely not. Maybe this is the game they put it together, right? But it's trending in the wrong direction right now. His confidence seems to be at an all-time low. And obviously, when he had that game where, he came out and said he was 9, right? I remember social media blowing up. Might have even been the game before. And I'm like, what did JJ McCarthy do? Because social media was going crazy. It was like, even the mainstream sports media was like, JJ McCarthy's a real deal, blah, blah, blah. I go look at the stat line. Dude didn't even crack 200 yards passing. I'm like, what are we doing here? What exactly did he do that was so great? Right. So again, just comparing apples to apples here. Actually, it's not even apples to apples, to be honest with you. You could see how Zach Wilson, you can make the argument that Zach Wilson was more effective with the Jets his first 5 games than JJ McCarthy. And I think we would all agree the Vikings have a much better roster around JJ McCarthy than Zach Wilson had with the New York Jets. So that is the quarterback the Packers are going to be facing this week. Again, we'll continue to look at those numbers as we get later on into the week. Now let's go to the early PFF preview here. I'll try to get it zoomed in where y'all can see it fairly well. Let's start off with the forecast and everything else, right? According to PFF here, game's going to be on Fox. You're looking at a forecast of 35 degrees with scattered clouds. Okay, so it sounds like it's going to be a chilly one at Lambeau Field on Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern. That's 12 Central, God's time out there, Lombardi time, right? The Vikings come in 4-6. They're also 4-6 against the spread. The Packers come in 6-3-1. They are 3-7 against the spread, and that 3-7 against the spread tells you they have been heavy favorites most of the year. Right now, Philly, I think it ended up being a push or right at a push, maybe a point difference there. But what you're seeing is the league thought the Packers were going to perform a lot better. I say the league. Vegas thought they were going to perform a lot better. At least that was the starting line they wanted to hammer out there to try to get the money as close to 50% as possible. So coming into this game, the Packers are 6.5-point favorites. All right. The PFF projection, however, has it at 6.8. So they've actually got the Packers a little more heavily favored. I want to say the very first line that came out, and it's not shown on the market line here for PFF, was actually 7-point favorites. But obviously here, according to PFF, it has been 6.5 the entire time. And of course, their green line, their line, 6.8. And then it went to a 6.9, then came back to a 6.8 is where PFF has it. Okay. So in terms of the spread, 6.5-point favorites, 65%. Well, I wish I had somebody in here to work the board. 65% of the money is on the Vikings to cover that spread, or to actually plus 6.5, right? Only 35% of the cash is on the Packers to cover that 6.5-point spread. All right. Bets percentage in terms of, overall tickets, 64% of the tickets are on the Vikings. All right. With 36 obviously going to the Packers. And when you talk about the straight money line here, okay, just to win outright, you've got let's see here. Like we said, it's a 6.5-point favorite game. Looks like 85% of the cash is on the Packers to win outright. Okay. So you're kind of split there, right? You've got 65% of the cash for the Vikings plus 6.5, and then 85% on the Packers. I kind of like the way those numbers sit. I like our chances there. You're kind of splitting the difference there, right? Now, me personally, I would not take the Packers to cover the spread if I were to bet on a Packers game. You guys know I don't bet on Packers games. I would probably either steer clear or maybe try to tease that Vikings to 7.5. Plus 7.5 is what I would try to go for there and lose a little bit of the juice. But 91% of the tickets are on the Packers there to win outright as well. So that's how the Vegas lines look. We got Emilio joining us now. Emilio, I don't know if you want to add into this or not, man, but as we pointed out, 65% of the money is on the Vikings plus 6.5.
65%. 65%. That's what
85% of the cash is on the Packers to win outright. How are you seeing this one? Do you think that's fairly accurate numbers to open up with? Do you think maybe the spread will sway a little bit? I wouldn't be surprised if it goes a little, if it does hit 7 points by the time we get to Sunday, to be honest with you.
Yeah, could be. You get a couple injuries, you get a thing here and there, see what happens with the Vikings. But yeah, I think that those are fair numbers coming out. Like you look at it right now, we're tied from where we were last year with the division, right? Where we have one win. We're in a great spot to try to beat our record in the division from last year. So I think this week is where you start with that. You go 2-0 in the division, you're setting yourself up for for a nice run here at the end of the season. But you just got to be different. I was listening to some of their interviews, and it's like, yeah, we can't. I think it was X. We can't be that team, right? And we got to practice like we don't want to be that team again. We don't want to fall back there. What we put out of the 1-5 last year was not us. So you got to approach it that way. And, let's hope whatever the spread is, whatever the money line is, we need a dub at the end of this game against a division opponent with a younger quarterback and, a couple of friendly faces that we know from there and a good coach. So it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. And again, man, the number one thing is, like you said, get the win, right? It's like Gary Ellerson said last week, don't matter if you win by a point, just win the damn ball game, right? So when you look at some of the key metrics here, according to PFF, obviously ranks out of all 32 teams, they have the Packers ranked 4th overall. I seen that number. We're going to get to the power rankings, the PTA power rankings on the backside of this show, Emilio. Where I ended up ranking the Packers, I stepped back and I'm like, I know I'm not being a homer because this isn't my opinion. These are just the statistics, the analytics that I think are most important to come up with a ranking system. And lo and behold, man, I had them 5th. We'll talk about the entire list here shortly, but I had them 5th. PFF's got them 4th. So maybe there's something to that. And I didn't include any PFF data too, by the way. There was no PFF data whatsoever. So the Packers are ranked overall 4th. The Vikings are overall ranked 18th. In terms of where they sit in the National Football League. The Packers defense is ranked 13th. The Vikings defense is ranked 17th. So you got the advantage there. The Packers offense ranked 5th. The Vikings offense is ranked 28th. Strength of schedule played, however, they have played the 8th toughest schedule. We've only played the 24th toughest schedule, okay, according to the strength of schedule played. So maybe that's why their record looks a little more like it does and ours looks a little more like it does. Average offensive snaps, fairly close, 64 for Packers, 62 average offensive snaps for the Vikings. 41% of the time we're running the ball. They're only running the ball 34% of the time, right? So they are definitely leaning on the pass more, and boy, it's showing. They're probably playing from behind a lot. EPA per run, the Packers are minus 0.04. The Vikings are minus 0.11 in that regard. So we have correct me if I'm wrong on that math, that means we've got the advantage there, correct? So in terms of EPA per run, and then EPA per pass, it's not even close. We're at a positive 0.20. They're at a negative 0.10. What do you think about the rankings there? How do you feel about those? Do you think that's pretty accurate, or is there something you maybe disagree with there?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty fair. The Vikings, they're still a solid team. They've had bottom of the division right this second, but they were they have 12 last year, 13, something like that. So it's not like they don't have that talent. They got a star wide receiver. They've got a good coach, like I was saying. You have the makings of a team. The problem is they go out and buy a lot of old pieces that they try to plug in. Not super great at drafting, and you run into a pickle. So I think that there's you got to have they're probably having a lot of faith in McCarthy. He's got to be the one, or else this offseason we're drafting the first, the first quarterback that falls to us. And, the way the record's going, we'll see how that goes. But I think if we can get that division win, add to it, we'll be in good shape. And obviously if they're not running as much, I think our defense has a chance. Like X was talking about they kept asking him about, if you don't have the picks or anything like that, can you guys be a Super Bowl defense or what? He basically was like, I'm telling you right now, the picks are coming. And once they do start, what he said, once they start coming, I'm going to come back out on the camera and I'm going to tell you, I told you so, right now, because that's it. The team is close. You've had one in the past 5 games. You get a multi-game one, then you get a multi-pick. I mean, we'll be off to the races. And you get a good shot here against a younger QB.
Yeah. Definitely. And you can see it all over the tape. There's opportunities to take the ball away. They just haven't capitalized on it. And I think that's what X is saying. It honestly feels like they're trying too hard, Yeah. You see McDuffie blast that ball out of Bullard's hands. Later on, you actually see Xavier McKinney get tied up, twisted around, throws a hand up on Keyshawn. Keyshawn was going to pick that pass.
He was saying that in his there. Yeah. No, he tipped that one. He cost me that one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So moving on to the quarterback matchup, we've kind of talked about J.J. McCarthy. Let's see if PFF agrees with how bad those numbers are. They have him at a 54.6 Passer rating when clean, 63.5. Passer rating under pressure is a 58.1. Big time throw percentage is actually 5.7%. All right. Turnover worthy play, though, boy, oh boy, 6.9% turnover worthy rate or worthy play percentage. Power rating is only 1.5. That ranks him 20th in power rating. Now, switching over to the Packers quarterback room there with Jordan Love, 84.4 PFF grade. Let's freaking go. Passer rating when clean, 127.5. Passer rating under pressure, 45.5. JJ McCarthy has a better passer rating under pressure than Jordan Love. All right. Does that signal an alarm to anybody? I don't know. It doesn't really for me, but it is an interesting stat to look at. Big time throw percentage, Jordan Love, 4.88%. Turnover worthy play percentage, only 2.7%. You guys know how important that is. And then power rating is a 4.5. That ranks him 8th in terms of the PFF quarterback power rating rank. What do you think about the quarterback matchup, man? It don't even look close, Emilio.
No, that's a 1-star versus like a 5-star prospect. You know what I mean? And you got the gem trade on it, Clay. I'll take Jay Love, man. That's my quarterback for a reason. He's the man. I love. They were bringing up the Toyota-thon. He said, I think the fans kind of hopped onto that, but it was a good time. And he likes it. 30-2, 30 touchdowns, 2 picks. Whatever it is that happens, whatever, like he said, you get into a little bit more of a groove. I think rhythm, we come back to that again. When your team gets in rhythm, the offense needs a little bit of a rhythm. That's why the defense is always ahead at the beginning of the year. You have injuries. You're trying to find that. And as long as you get hot, week 14 on, 15 on, we'll be in business. So right now it's an early start on that. I think that Jay Love's got it. I mean, he's him, right, Clay? I'm just happy that he's ours.
He is, dude. The plays he was making out there in that wind, and like I said, he's missing Jaden Reed, his leading receiver from the last 2 years. He's missing his leading receiver this year, who was Tucker Kraft, who just completely turned the corner. You get Christian Watson back, that's going to be the guy you lean on now. Obviously, the offensive line's banged up. You're missing your starting center. There's just so many things he's having to deal with. And when he took over that game, it was exciting. I can't stop thinking about the spacing play that we laughed about, right? Where it's like there was nothing. I mean, nothing on that play. And he realized it before he finished his drop and started waving people around like, guys, we got to do something. Yeah. This ain't. He's seen the field really, really well against the Giants.
They were asking him, did you see Chris Brooks' block on that play? And he said, no, that's not something I see in real time. I'll see it on the pictures and film after. He said, I was just trying to get, I'm just trying to get the ball out of there. And he makes a great block, gives them enough time to make that happen. And that's it. And he is also saying about how he was kind of getting in the zone of spot, like throwing in that wind. We were talking 30-mile-an-hour wind, getting in the zone of actually he knew that he needed to tighten the spiral a little bit so that it kind of cuts through the wind a little bit more. And he said, once you hit a couple of those and you realize that I can still throw the ball. You played in a rain game in college football, right, Clay? Oh, yeah. I can't throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field. It's like everybody stops playing. So you got to get past that confidence aspect. And he said once he gets hot, he feels that confidence. Matt's got confidence in him. Then everything kind of ball gets rolling downhill, and you just see what happens when that offense gets moving.
Absolutely. So we talked about the strength of schedule, right? Let's see who the Vikings have played so far. They were at Chicago. They won that game, okay, in Chicago in week 1. They lost to the Falcons 22-6. That's a bad football team, right? The Bengals, they boat raced them 48-10. My goodness, right? You lose on the road to Pittsburgh 24-21. We beat Pittsburgh by 10 points on the road. Mm-hmm. And they got a win at Cleveland 21-17. We lost in Cleveland, so that kind of balances back out. They lost to Philadelphia 28-22 at home. They lost. I mean, they got their asses kicked at LA against the Chargers 37-10. They got a win in Detroit 27-24. That's a big win, right? Mm-hmm. Baltimore, they lost 27-19 at home. And the Chicago Bears, they lost at home 19-17 on that last second field goal, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, when you look at it home and away record, it almost looks like they play better on the road than they are at home this year.
Right. Yeah, weird way, because the way this crowd's been rocking at home, the fans been bringing it. the stadium's getting loud again. I love to hear it. I love that we can hear it on the TV now. But you get that out there, young quarterback, you got to get through all the calls, know what's coming in. Maybe you can't get the call from the coach, got to cover the ears. All those things come into effect. But you got to – it's either way, home or away, it's a divisional, right, Clay? So you're going to have a battle on your hands. It doesn't matter if it could be at a neutral site. You're going to be battling.
You got to throw the record out the window.
100%.
Playing division rivals. There's no two ways about it. So they are 6.5-point underdogs this week. Next week, they travel to Seattle. They are 7.5-point underdogs next week. For the Packers, we are 6.5-point favorites this week. Next week on the road in Detroit, short week, Thanksgiving, we are 3-point underdogs. Let's go. I love to see that. I'm so tired of being the favorite, right? You want a little bit of those. Now, that'll probably sway a little bit the closer you get to that game. I would imagine we'll see which direction that line tilts in. But and we'll talk about Detroit here in a minute with the power rankings. I've got them really, really high on my power rankings, and most people have got them very low. I've actually got them higher than the Packers. We'll talk about why when we get to that as well. So anything else you want to hit on in terms of Packers, Vikings preview here before we move along, Bill?
No, I think that was a quick little snippet. Love checking out the numbers. We got the quarterback. I think the head coaches is a battle, and I would say we got the defense. So let's see what goes from there.
Definitely. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know what you think about the early line, the early preview, Packers, Vikings at Lambeau Field. 1 o'clock kickoff, going to be in the mid to upper 30s, it looks like, if they get the forecast right. We want to hear from you in the comments. How do you think that game is going to play out? And make sure you hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future.
I got one more thing, Clay. My bad. I just pulled it up on Insights NFL Pro. So at a glance, points per game, we're 13th. They're 22nd. Point differential, we're 10th. They're 20th. Record in close games, we are 2-3-1. They're 3-4. Average margin of victory, we're 21st. They're 13th. So they've been, a little bit better there. Turnover differential, we're 13th. They're 31st. They're actually -9. And then total penalties, we're 20th. They're 25th. So just it's a little tight, but we do have the advantage kind of across the board there.
Absolutely. And when you break down some of the other key statistics here, offensive scoring points per play, they're 16th. Defensive points per play allowed, they're 13th. You're thinking, that's not horrible. You're kind of middle of the pack, right? However, when you get to turnover differential, turnover margin, they're 31st in the league in terms of turnover differential, meaning I think they were like at a -6.5 or something. I mean, it was crazy where that.
Yeah, they have NFL Pro has turnover differential. They have -9 at, like you said, 31st, and then we're +1 at 13th.
Bingo. I'm telling you, it's the most. That's factored into my power rankings.
Yeah.
Well. So,
yeah. You imagine you get 2 picks there. Jordan Love has a clean game. We hold on to the football. We're +3 on the season. We're moving.
Absolutely. So before we get into the power rankings, let's jump over to a little Bears talk here. This came across Twitter earlier.
Get ready to go.
Fox Sports NFL tweeted this out. The Bears currently lead the North at 7-3 with the eye emoji, right? How many wins do you see them getting over the next 7 weeks? So let's zoom out just a touch here. Okay, you can kind of see what they've done here. So far, they lost to Minnesota, lost to Detroit. They won 4 in a row, beating Dallas, bad team. Raiders, bad team. Washington, this year, bad team. We expect them to be good, but they're bad. Saints, bad team. They lost to the Ravens. However, the Ravens are underperforming this year, right? And I believe they had Lamar back on that game, if I remember correctly. At Cincinnati, they get the dub there. Another bad team, right? And then, of course, you beat the Giants. And listen, if we had to hear it all week, you beat the Giants. Okay. They beat the Giants, too, at home, right, in Week 10. Barely. They skated by on that one, if you'll remember. And they beat the Vikings last week on the road in Minnesota, okay, which some would say, again, another losing record, right?
Was it Ryan's Pod 4? They only 4-win team they beat was the Vikings. Everybody else was 3 wins and less. Those were their only wins.
Bingo. So here's the remainder of their schedule. You got Pittsburgh next week, right? With Aaron Rodgers coming back into Chicago. It sounds like he's going to play even with that.
Is he? I was wondering they were talking.
Yeah, let me know in the chat if you guys have heard anything lately. But the way I was understanding it was the plan was it wasn't as serious as they thought. didn't need surgery, probably going to try to play unless something
I
changed.
mean, he is their owner. I mean, well, co-owner, but
No, he's the owner. Let's be real. So at Philadelphia the following week, that's a tough one, right? So you can see 2 losses right there. At Green Bay, let's be generous and say we'll split that. Let's say we'll win at home, they'll win at their place. Let's just say that's coming up in 2 weeks. After that, 1 week in between. Cleveland probably get a dub there, I would imagine, right? You never know, but probably get a dub there. So we've got 2 losses, 3 losses, right? And then let's say they beat Green Bay, the one of those 2. Okay, so we'll let it roll. At San Francisco, San Francisco is playing pretty darn good football right now.
7-4, 7-3, 7-4, something like that.
So that'll probably be a 4th loss. Okay, and then versus Detroit at home, if Detroit gets their crap together and beats them there, you might be looking at 5 losses in the last 7 games.
That's what I was going to say. About 2-5, maybe 6. If we can sweep them, I would say that they're probably closing in on 6 losses. Were they not 5-2 or 6-3 last year, and then they went on they just lost the last 10 or something? So it could start now. I mean, their ball could get rolling too.
Yeah. Now we'll see. Again, I've gave them credit all year because they're figuring out ways to win ball games, right? But when you look at some of their specific numbers here, okay, on offense, scoring points per play, they're 12th. Pretty damn good, right? Defensive scoring points per play allowed, 30th in the league. All right. Offensive yards per play, they're 8th. Defensive yards per play allowed, 30th. And then turnover is where they've made their hay. They are a league best in turnover margin, turnover differential. So that's how they're winning these ball games, is they're protecting the football. The other teams are giving it away, and they're just capitalizing on winning those close games. But again, you've played an extremely easy schedule to this point. So it's going to be exciting to see how the rest of their season ends here too. And here's the thing. You talked about them struggling down the stretch last year. Caleb Williams, he's got to prove he's a cold weather quarterback. He's got to prove he can play up there in that type of weather. The reality is, that
new stadium ain't getting built. That thing's not getting built that soon, Clay.
It ain't, man. It ain't. So
Jen Wright here, 2 wins maybe, and same with Holmes. Bears will win two more games max, same as last year.
That's what it feels like, right? So again, let them run with it. Let them run with the narrative. Let them have their fun right now. We'll just keep it zit. Let's go out there and go 1-0 every week, and then we're going to look up and they're going to go, "What the hell happened?" That's what's going to happen, right?
Yep.
So now, Caleb Williams. Boy, there's a lot of buzz around him about how good he is, right? We showed this chart last week amongst quarterbacks. We got a new version of it here, updated, okay? Ooh. So if you guys, for those listening on the pod and the ones that maybe can't see this as well here live on YouTube. So essentially what you've got is running from left to right, okay, at the top of the screen, you've got all these different categories: PFF grade, EPA per play, success rate, completion percentage over expected, turnover-worthy play rate, clean pocket EPA per play, clean pocket success rate, non-play action EPA, all right, non-play action success rate, pressure to sack rate, and average depth of target, okay? So anything in the green, more green's better, right? Exactly how the chart shows here, okay? The purple, obviously bad. Jordan Love is second on this list. There's nothing on this list, on all those statistics we just laid out, all those analytics we just laid out. There is nothing on here that's in the purple. The only thing that isn't like a significant amount of green is average depth of target. Okay. Now I don't want to make this about Jordan Love. I just want to mention Drake May's number 1, Jordan Love's 2, Josh Allen 3, Brock Purdy 4, Sam Darnold 5, Daniel Jones 6, and so on. Right. Look at where Caleb Williams is. If you can follow my cursor. I mean, he is, let me count them all.
So it's Ben.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Trying to find it.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th on this list, guys. He has 3 of these categories. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 5 of these categories in the green, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 5 in the purple, a 6th in the white, about to turn purple, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So the thing it's showing that he's worse at, though, is completion percentage over expected. Okay.
Really? I didn't think it was that far passing it through the window, Clay. I mean, you just a bag to the window to the car right there, no?
And I'm telling you, you get that McGriddle, just an egg McGriddle.
Oh, come on now.
That thing slaps, dude. On a cold fall morning when you're out there still mowing them leaves, man.
Oh, tell me about it.
But yeah, negative 4.3%. Let's compare that to Jordan Love. His is a positive 5.7%. That looks like he's third best in the league in terms of CPOE. So again, just looking at the chart, you hear all the buzz, the hype. He can scramble, boy. He's he's agile. He's a natural ball carrier. He can make things happen at the last second using his legs. But if you make that dude sit in the pocket and throw the football and you get pressure before somehow, some way, he is, I would say he's not even a mediocre quarterback. I would say he's below average, as these numbers kind of show here. What do you think about Caleb, man? Do you see the same hype I see on social media? Because they're talking like this dude is the king of the North.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it seems like really the only person that even I like listening to Greg Cosell. I think when he was on with Ross, but it's they bring up Caleb and he goes, yeah, he really some of those crazy plays he can make, but it's just some of the and he really kind of walks that line of like, it's not bad, but he's kind of still having issues processing and getting here on the spot, and so there's only playmaking can get you so far. And what they were saying on the GM Shuffle is like when you get to the playoffs, it's a quarterback tournament. At that point, you are playing, roulette with the quarterbacks that are behind your, the line that you've built, all this stuff. But that's what you're basing that run on. And a great quarterback will take you there. Rodgers done it. We want Jordan to be that dude for this team, and I think he can. So let's get into the dance. Let's get that going. I just don't think, when he gets out there like that, Clay, that's not going to last forever. Your stamina is going to run out and can't be sitting on right trigger the whole time. Yeah.
Now, again, what was the big knock that Greg Cosell had that I talked about? And I didn't watch all of his college tape, Caleb Williams' college tape, and go, oh, this is the problem, right? Greg Cosell tipped me off on it listening to his podcast. And he was like, typically you get a player that takes a lot of sacks in college, they come to the pros and it follows them to the pros, right? So with that being said, people immediately last year were talking about, well, the offensive line sucks. The offensive line sucks. It's like, no, he's leading the league in sacks where he holds the ball for 4 seconds or longer. Like, you can't do that. 2.5 seconds, that ball needs to be out, right? So that's kind of the thing that's hindered his ability to progress throughout his young career here. Now, look at this. Average time holding the ball on all dropbacks. This is all the way through week 11. Look who leads the league, and it's not even close. It's the Chicago Bears. Yep. And I wonder who their quarterback is. It's Caleb Williams. So they're showing that he's holding the football for, basically 3.3 seconds is what he's holding the ball. That's his time to throw, sack, or scramble in seconds. Again, so holding the football on all dropbacks, right? This is what he does. It's like he can look at the number one read, and to his credit, and the reason that they're leading the league in turnover differential is because he's not putting the ball in harm's way right off the bat. He's looking at the first read, and then it's like he can't read the first guy. He can't read the boundary safety and the strong side backer, whether it's the mock or you're in a base set. He can't read the boundary, read the strong side backer, and know my answer is going to be here, right? It's simply read number one's not there. Oh, crap. Let me scramble. Let me move around, right? So this is what's been hindering him. And again, like Greg Cosell said, it typically follows you from college to the pros. That's exactly what's happening with Caleb. You're just not seeing it in the form of sacks. You're seeing it in the form of him holding the football too long. And I'm telling you, these have been some bad defenses that cannot tackle. I don't know how many times I've screamed at the TV watching the Bears play, say attack his outside half. Attack the outside part of his body when you go to sack him, because he's looking to jab step in and get outside almost every time. And if he wants to run up the middle, fine, let him do that. And you clean his clock or he slides for a 4-yard gain, right? It just blows my mind that there's still a lot of fans out there that are not fans, but a lot of players that you watch the tape, you watch the scrambling tape for Caleb Williams, and your idea is, okay, when I get him in the backfield, I'm just going to play reckless and go to his inside shoulder. It makes no sense at all.
Right. And at that point, let's pay attention to the hips, stop paying attention to the head. You can, the head, the shoulders, all that can go anywhere. You got to make sure that you get his base down. And that just, you're right. How are we letting him scramble that much when we know that's all he wants to do? I mean, yeah, almost to the point of like put a spy on either side, rush one dude up the middle, and just let him come out to you, because I still feel like he's going to get flustered. I feel like if you can get a little pressure up front, then he's going to have to try to extend, and that's not going to last forever. Being able to, you can't do it. You got to be able to get in rhythm sometimes. And if you look at how the Lions are kind of like how the Lions are playing this year and obviously played last year, that's where you're trying to get to. How much in rhythm can you get when you're not working with a Jared Goff? You're working with a running run first. Honestly, I mean, he can spin it for sure, but he wants to lean on his legs right now because he's not seeing it as clear.
Yeah, absolutely. So just want to point that out. It continues to follow him around a little bit. He's an excellent scrambler. I don't want anybody to take me the wrong way, but that's going to end up biting you in the ass when you get to playing these good defenses and they scheme against that, right? They're going to make you throw the football or take a sack, right? Whether you throw it away, complete it, or take the sack. It's not going to be this just running all over the yard. So, again, that is just a quick little look at the Bears. The reason I wanted to pull all that information and comb through social media for it, Emilio, is because I kept seeing everywhere. It's like, boy, people are really believing in the Bears. And I have to step back, check the ego, and go, all right, man, is it legit? Let's dig into some of the numbers that are important. Turnover differential, that's a big step.
Yeah, that's
right?
big.
Defense is absolute cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that when you get into November football, the teams with the better defenses typically are the ones that start to separate themselves a little bit, right? Because offenses start to struggle even more when the weather turns and it turns into a running game. And the teams with the best defenses, Philadelphia, right? Like they, winning the championship last year, winning the Super Bowl last year. So anything else you want to hit on with the Bears that we may have missed there? Anything at all?
No, I think we hit it spot on. Let's see how they do in this. They got the Eagles, or they got Steelers this week, Eagles next week. So we got two good games, honestly. Excited to watch them because we'll be able to, after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I want to see. Let's see how these. I always look to see how the schedule lays out here, right? We're playing Minnesota at 1:00. The Bears have got the Steelers at 1:00. Dadgummit. And the Lions have.
We'll know by the post-game show, Clay. We'll be talking about it then. How did Rodgers play? What's the record look like? Is he still the owner?
Yeah, all 4 NFC North teams play in the 1:00 window. So we will know how the North looks by the time we do our post-game.
That's kind of exciting.
That is exciting. Yeah, so we'll make sure we give you guys all that information. But if you're watching this video back later, let us know what you think in the comments. Are we too hard on Chicago? Do y'all think they're legit? Do you think they're blowing smoke up everybody's rear end like I kind of feel like it is? Let us know in the comments what you think, and make sure you click subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, Emilio, let's shift gears and let's get into the first ever PTA Power Rankings. Sounds all. Boy, don't
you should have told me. I would have got something crazy going.
Bro,
cheese curds and my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them though.
I broke out the Excel sheet earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. How'd that go?
It's just one cell.
Okay.
We're still learning to crawl here. So, and it glitched out on me. So somebody in the chat, it's funny, man. On my side, it was showing everything numbered out, ranked 1 through 10. And then somebody commented and said, "What's this participation trophy BS?" And I'm like, well, what's he pissed about? And I pulled it up on my phone, and it's glitched out to where everybody's ranked number 1.
You think God never farted?
See, I can't remove this one on the left, so I just had to add the actual ranking in there of whatever.
Nice. I got you.
So here we go, guys. Now let me give you the criteria. This is not Clayton's opinion on where these teams rank, okay? It's a little bit of Clayton's opinion from the sense of I think these are the most important stats. Here's how we came up with the power ranking, okay? One, and all these are evenly weighted, okay? Nothing has more value than the other, okay? This is just everything together, okay? Record, so winning percentage ranking, okay? Offensive scoring, points per play. Defensive scoring, points per play allowed. Offensive yardage, yards per play. Defensive yardage, yards per play allowed. So you're getting the scoring aspect and the moving the ball down the field, both on offense and defense equally. turnover margin, which you guys know, I think that's a huge, probably the most important statistic every Sunday, right? And then what we do is we take that, we average everything out. It's 6 different categories, and that gives us a score, low number wins, just like our draft board. And here are the rankings. Number 1, the Los Angeles Rams come in first place with a 4.8 score. They're playing damn good football. Emilio, they have the 4th best record right now in terms of winning percentage in the entire league. They're 8th in scoring, 1st in scoring defense. I don't know who their DC is, but he's not going to be there for long. 7th in yards per play, 7th in yards per play allowed, 2nd in turnover differential. So that gives them a 4.8. They are the number 1 team on the PTA power rankings. How do you feel about the Rams? Do you think that's too high, too low? What do you think there, man?
No, I actually think that's probably spot on. Man, I was worried about Stafford's back at the beginning of the year. He's played right through it. That's not a problem for him. And they're scary, right? They're a pretty scary team in the NFC. I listening to Ross Tucker's, right? He does his power rankings, and he does it kind of based on like if they were to play a 10-game scenario, is this team going to be that team sort of thing? I'm almost 99% sure he also had the Rams number 1, and it's just one of those things where, dude, everything they're doing, it's working for them right now. Yeah, you got a couple losses on there, but who cares? They're getting hot right now. If they cool off before the end of the season, that's good for us. But right now, yeah, they probably are the best team.
All right, so there you go. The LA Rams, number 1 with a 4.8 score. Number 2, the Indianapolis Colts with a 6.1 score. Their record rank, winning percentage, 5th best in the league. They're number 1 in offensive scoring, number 7 in defensive scoring, number 1 in yards per play on offense, number 11 on yards per play allowed on defense, 12th in turnover differential, giving them a 6.1 score. If it wasn't for that turnover differential being outside of the top 10, that's really the difference between them and the Rams. The Rams being 2nd best there and them being 12th. If they can get the turnover problem under control and take the ball away more and protect the ball a little bit more, they could very well be the best team in the league in terms of the power rankings there. What do you think, man?
Yeah. No, and I think you're right. The turnovers are key. I pulled up the Rams coordinator. Chris Shula is the D coordinator for the Rams. So
never heard that name either. Have you?
No, it's his second season as a coordinator as a 25. He was promoted in 24 after he was an assistant. But hey, it's working for the Rams. You got the Colts. Danny had a bad week one day. What do you have? 4 or 5 picks one week. So yeah, you get a couple of those in there. That's going to skew the numbers. They've been playing great. Let's see how they go. They play the Chiefs this week, so that's going to be a test right there. I think you'll be able to go from week 12 to week 13. There's going to be huge jumps in this. We're doing this each week, right, Clay?
I'm going to try to.
Okay.
I don't want to,
or at least keep an idea of it, because I feel like that you're going to start to see the major jumps now later on in the season versus early, because you got a baseline, you're past halfway point, and you can kind of get an idea where these teams are.
If you can create me a spreadsheet to where I can just punch these columns in, we'll do it every week, no problem.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll talk after. I'll get you.
That's a no, by the way, when he says we'll talk.
No, we will. I got you.
That's how Mandy operates anyway. Hey, can we go here for dinner tonight? We'll talk about it. No one in her spot tonight. So yeah. Chester in the chat said, I think D coordinators are getting the read on Daniel Jones, coach quarterback. That's the thing, like Emilio was just saying, on the back half of the season, people got plenty of tape, and now you start to see where the rubber meets the road. For sure. Drew D says Rams are scary, Indy overrated. So he disagrees with Indy at number 2, but he thinks the Rams are scary. Appreciate the input there, Drew. All right, moving along. Number 3. I know people are going to hate me for this. Again, it's not my opinion. It's what the numbers say. Detroit Lions, 7.8 score. They are 3rd best on our power rating or power rankings. When you look at Detroit's numbers, here's what we got. They've got the 15th best record in terms of winning percentage. Okay, so that brings them down a little bit. Offensive points per play, 3rd best in the league. Defensive scoring points per play allowed, 11th. Yards per play on offense, 4th best. Yards per play allowed on defense, 6th best, and they're 8th in turnover differential. Emilio, their winning percentage is the only thing bringing them down. And here's what I'll look at here. When you got a team that's ranking really good at all the important metrics except for winning percentage, guess what I put that on? I put that on the coaches. Probably some bad coaching going on there, right? Now, if you've got a team that are bad in the rankings, but their winning percentage is high, guess what? They're coaching their ass off. They're getting the most out of that team that's struggling in the key categories.
Right.
So, what do you think about Detroit here? 7.8 score, third best. And again, the only thing bringing them down is the winning percentage. They're playing solid football across the board, top 10 in protecting the football and taking the ball away. And again, when it comes to yardage, they're crushing it. Now you're probably wondering how are they, maybe not more effective on defense or points per play allowed. It's a good question because they're sixth in yards per play allowed on defense,
Right.
but they're 11th in scoring. Probably red zone efficiency on defense, right? It's kind of coming into factor.
Yep. Yeah, and coming off the beginning of the season when they had two new coordinators, offensive, defensive, and we gotta jump on them being that first one. All right, perfect. That worked out in our favor. They've kind of ironed out some of those kinks. Again, that's why halfway through the season you'll be able to pull these numbers. It'll make a lot more of a difference on where these teams are sitting. I do think they're playing good ball. We're going to see them in a week. It's not like we can try and avoid it, but we see them twice a year. They're in the division. They finally took the paper bags off everybody in the stands. Like they're a good team at the moment. We got to go out there and change that score so that we're up. We're at number 3. But until then, they've put in that work and gotten themselves to this point. So we need to make sure that moving forward we can kind of take it from them.
And the big thing that's not in these columns that I've got on my sheet here that really shows up in the win-loss column is going for it on fourth down recklessly like Dan Campbell does. It's been in the ass. Now, the numbers, right? The numbers will suggest, okay, they're due now, but again, every game's different. So we'll see if they start to hit on some of those. If they continue to do that and they fell on fourth down, they may look up at the end of the year and be like, damn, we need to make it the playoff.
Well, the other thing is too, Clay, they set up their offense to being planning on going for it on fourth, right? So if you're calling, 3 run plays that gets you 8 yards, all right, perfect. I'm going for it on fourth anyway. But they know that you can get yourself in a bind not having the offensive game plan of getting up in 3 and moving the chains.
Yeah, and that's why you guys know me. I'm a boring fan. Take the freaking points. Take the points and the field position, live the play another down, get back over there, huddle up, let's reset, and let's get to playing efficient both on offense and defense. Forget this whole, all right, let's roll the dice every time. And I understand you want to do it every now and again. Maybe you're not happy with the way your offense is playing, so it's like, man, we really need to capitalize on the fact that we're on their side of the field and it's 2 yards to go. Let's see if we can pick up this first down and kind of steal a possession from them, essentially. But Deadfish in the chat says, Clayton, how could you? I felt dirty, Deadfish. I felt so dirty putting them number 3, but I'm like, I can't. The numbers are the numbers. We got to put them on. So Chester in the chat said the difference between the Lions and the Packers is the Packers are not playing anywhere near their potential yet. I think that is such a good comment there, Chester. You can just see flashes of the Packers and what they can be. And then with Detroit, it's like, to me, it looks like they're playing to their utmost potential and their coaches are kind of screwing them out of it right now with these fourth down gambles. So completely agree with that. All right, moving along. Number 4, the Seattle Seahawks. Their score is an 8.0. Seattle, they are 8th in terms of winning percentage, 2nd in offensive scoring, 4th in defensive scoring, 3rd in yards per play on offense, 3rd in yards per play allowed on defense. So they're literally top 5 in everything other than their winning percentage. So why is their winning percentage down to 8th? They're 28th in turnover differential. Now, keep in mind, Sam Darnold had a game the other night where he went colorblind. That dude was throwing it to the opposite jersey all night. Seeing ghosts? Yes. Oh, he was definitely seeing ghosts, just like back with New York when he played against the Patriots. So that's what brung their score down. If they can fix that, they're playing damn good football. They just got to protect the football and take the ball away.
Yeah. Hey, again, that's what we talk about each game, though, right, Clay? Is the turnover margin, turnover differential, middle 8, all those things come into factor. And then at the end of the season, you look back and how many times did we give it away? How many opportunities did we miss? How many times did the defense give the offense another chance? All those things come into play. Seattle, you can't survive on that forever. We talked about the Bears being dependent on the turnover heaviness to get them in that position. Cool. How long is that going to be around?
Right. Chuck Jagger says Seattle hooping. They are, man. I mean, you're talking about 2nd, 4th, 3rd. Get the turnovers taken care of, and they'll be in good shape. I think they're going to be one of the best teams at the end of the year. If they can clean up that turnover differential, we'll look up and go, yeah, man, they're on a roll. They're going to be tough.
Crazy to think, like when we were first talking about the season, NFC, that you have, the Lions, the Rams, and the Seattle all up there as like legitimate dogs. I didn't quite see it at the beginning. Lions, yeah. Rams maybe. Seattle didn't quite see.
Yeah, that's a good point. Moving along, number 5, your Green Bay Packers with an 8.8 score. I know that catches people off guard, like what? Because there's some people that even got them in the top 10 of their power rankings, right?
Yeah, Ross had us 9th.
Okay, so we've got them 5th. Here's why: 9th in winning percentage. Okay, offensive points per play, offensive scoring 14th. Right, we've dipped down to 14th now. Defensive points per play, so defensive scoring 5th best in the league. So that's good news there. Yards per play, 9th. Now, keep in mind, how many times have we went for it on 4th down on the other team's side of the field, right? That type of thing. That plays a factor in why our scoring's down, yet our yards per play is not. Defensive yards per play allowed, 3rd best in the league, man. And turnover differential, 13th. So, again, what's the strength? Hands down the defense. We got a top 5 defense, no doubt about it. Offense, you're hovering right between 8 and 12, somewhere around there. Yeah, if someone says they're not a top 10 offense, I get it. If somebody says they are a top 10 offense, I can understand that argument too. So again, 14th in scoring, 5th in defensive scoring, 9th in offensive yards, 3rd in defensive yards, and 13th in turnover differential, giving them a score of 8.8. They're 5th on the list. Do you think that's too high or low, man, based off what you've heard? You're muted, brother.
You're right. Yeah. I would say that maybe a touch high, but the team is going in the right direction. So I'm happy with where the score is at. I double checked. Ross had us actually at 11th. So just outside of the top 10, but that's where we've been fighting to get Jordan inside the top 10 of rankings forever. It seems like even for this team, getting us to fight inside the top 10, 5 might be this is all 32, right? Seems like we've only had – okay, I was going to say, that's right, you had Indy in there. But it just seems like we're maybe a little bit high with kind of where some of the AFCs are. But thinking about it, are the Broncos at 9-2? I think we're going to have a battle when we go to play them. I think it's going to be a fight. And you could be completely right, us being 5 right now, because if we were to play them head up 10 times, how many times are we winning? I would say at least 6 out of the 10, 7 out of the 10.
Mm-hmm. And Jen Wright says not reach the ceiling or even close yet. That's the thing. Is like we still haven't put in a complete game together. Even Pittsburgh, we played a horrible first half.
Yep.
Right? Like Detroit week 1's probably the closest thing we have to a complete game. Right? And that stacks up really well for the rematch. Of course, they're going to be prepared. They're going to know what we did, and you got to be ready to adjust to that. But yeah, I like the way the direction the team's heading, and the youngest roster in the league. Come on, man.
And you're saying that Detroit was the best one. I'm hoping that they bring some of that mentality of, hey, divisional opponent, even if it was all the offseason they prep for them, that's that kind of mentality and that kind of drive that they're going to bring into these next 5 divisional games they have coming up. Maybe you see a completely different team. All right, yeah, we were still getting the kinks out. We didn't come out. Maybe we came out a little flat on a couple of these games. Fine, that's behind us. Let's go now.
Yeah, definitely. All right, number 6, the New England Patriots with a 9.1. People are going, whoa. New England's got like one of the best records in the league, right? They do. You notice we haven't said Denver yet, right?
Yeah.
New England has the 2nd best winning percentage in the league, 9th in offensive scoring, 9th in defensive scoring. They're 6th in offensive yards per play. However, they're 14th in defensive yards per play. And then turnover differential, they're 15th. So that brings them down to a 9.1. And you'll notice, I love the way the score breaks down that far, because like a 9.1, 8.8, you can kind of do it in tiers, right?
Yep.
Kind of break these teams down in tiers.
Just how we did the board. Yeah, you could get, your jump tiers at 5 and up and 5 to 10, all that.
Yeah, so we've got New England in the number 6 spot with a 9.1 score. Anything you want to add to that there, other than the fact that, again, yards per play on defense allowed, and the turnover differential is the only thing kind of pulling them down. If they were, top 5 in those 2 categories, they would be right there in the top 3 for us.
Yeah, and I think some of that turnover differential probably, young quarterback still getting it under him, but he's been playing great. So there's not much you can say. What was he, top 5 in that ranking as well that we showed earlier, where Jordan Love was 2? Mm-hmm. So you've got a good quarterback as long as you take care of the ball. You got a good head coach. that's half of your battle of if you're going to look at a team per game and you look at the three major things: coach, quarterback, defense. They're pretty much there.
Yeah. Professor Cake says Patriots look scary. They do. And that's the thing, guys, with this power ranking system that I'm laying out here. These are just the most important statistics that I think should apply, right? It doesn't mean the Patriots couldn't go out and beat the number one team on this list tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It's just here's how they played up to this point. How are they going to finish? How are they going to evolve as a team, right?
Right, because the Chiefs are playing Indy this weekend. What's going to happen? Where are they going to be after this?
Yeah, it's a great point, man. Great point. And all it takes is one bad game to really drop you down some of these rankings. But again, it's all about consistency, man. Number 7, the Denver Broncos with a 9.6 score. Guys, they have the best winning percentage in the league, right? Ranked number 1. Offensive points per play scoring 18th. Defensive scoring second best in the league. Offensive yards per play 17th. Defensive yards per play first in the league. 19th in turnover margin. I'd love to know who their defensive coordinator is because he's probably fast tracking to be an NFL head coach here real soon. But again, when it comes to Denver, you've got a coach that's already won a Super Bowl, a coach that completely revitalized Drew Brees' career. Now he's got his quarterback of the future in Bo Nix, right? He loves that that quarterback for the franchise for the foreseeable future. But the strong point of their team is actually on defense, which is it's absolutely wild. Vance Joseph. So, boy, we've heard that name a time or 12, haven't we?
Yep.
That's a guy. And again, I don't know if he's had a head coaching job before or not. Some people were just cut out to be coordinators, but Vance Joseph, it seems like he's always got a good defense. Wasn't he in Carolina? Am I thinking right, guys? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like it's his third season, starting in 23 as a DC for them. Second stint, he served as the head coach from 17 to 18 for the Broncos. And then you were correct, Cardinals, where he kind of just was on the staff of other teams as well. But yeah, the Cardinals.
Got it. All right, so there you go. Denver Broncos come in the number 7 spot. Number 8, your reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles with a 10.1. They rank 8th, and here is why. Winning percentage, third best in the league. Offensive scoring, 11th. Defensive scoring, 6th. Offensive yards per play, Emilio, if you had to guess, where do you think they're ranked? Just based off of what you know about the Eagles offense. Nick Sirianni, offensive mind. He doesn't call the plays, but an offensive-minded coach.
I would say like 12th, 13th.
23rd in yards per play. Yeah. Now they're 11th.
They had to get the ball to A.J. Brown, but that's why everyone was supposed to drop him in fantasy.
Saying. So defensive yards per play allowed, Vic Fangio's got them ranked 11th. So 6th best scoring defense, 11th best defense in yards. And turnover differential, this is their bread and butter. They're 7th best in the league in turnover margin. So that gives them a 10.1. That ranks them 8th on the power rankings here from these key statistics. You see that and you go, I don't know, man. I feel like they're a top 3 team in the league, right? Again, will this stuff catch up to them? Or is that the sign of a good coach that their score is a 10.1, yet their winning percentage is third best in the league? Yep. Again, you look at Nick Sirianni, top 10, maybe top 5 now. He's hovering around top 5 in winning percentage all time. And I don't want to hear this. He hasn't been coaching long enough, guys. That dude, he's already won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, right? He's won a Super Bowl, and his winning percentage is top 5 all time, top 7 all time. Yeah, it's time to put some shine. I know he's a quirky individual. He's kind of weird in his pressers and stuff. This dude is one hell of a head coach, man.
Yeah, you got to give him his flowers, right? One of the coaches that got to the mountaintop, but yeah, the Eagles, they got a battle. They had they're playing the Cowboys, I want to say, this week, right? So they're they again, everybody, as how they've sort of set up the schedule, putting all the divisional games at the end of the year. Yeah, you've gone through some of the teams in the NFL. Cool. The gauntlet is coming up for everybody. It's not just the Packers. It's everybody in the league is going to start narrowing down a lot of their divisional games, and you're really going to start to separate. Right now, the Eagles, they deserve to be 8. They still beat us. Technically, they could be higher, right? But going off the numbers itself, that's the season as a whole. We're still 3 spots ahead of them. But you can't just say that they're not a decent team, right? We took an L to them. They've beaten a lot of other good teams this year. they've only had a couple bad losses to a couple of, not so good teams.
Yeah. Thank you for that number. Bates went and did the digging. He is 4th all time at 718 winning percentage. Guys, that means I think the only coaches ahead of him, correct me if I'm wrong, Bates, I don't know if you still got it pulled up. Vince Lombardi is higher than him. John Madden's higher than him. There's a guy I'm not familiar with that's number 1 who coached in the 20s, like 4 or 5 years in the 20s, right? This dude, man, here's what's crazy. We thought it was wild that Matt LaFleur's ass was on the line early, 2 games ago, 1 game ago, right? Nick Sirianni, they were calling for his job in the first half of last year, and they went on to win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So just put some respect on his name. It's absolutely wild. It's wild what he's done so far in Philly. So again, we've got them in the number 8 spot. Nick Sirianni doing a hell of a job coaching those guys up based off of the rankings. All right, Buffalo Bills, number 9. Why are they in the 9 spot? 7th best winning percentage, 4th in offensive scoring, 19th in scoring defense. So offense is definitely their strong point. 2nd in yards per play, so even better moving the ball on offense as opposed to scoring. And then 22nd in yards per play allowed, 13th in turnover differential. If they can get their defense a little closer to that top 10 mark, you're going to see them climb the ranks a little bit more. This is why people have called for their head coach's job, is because he is a defensive-minded coach, and their defense is the part that's struggling. So it kind of feels like you're wasting a little bit of Josh Allen out there. And again, I know there's some Josh Allen haters that watch the show, but the reality is he's got that offense 4th in scoring and 2nd in yards in terms of yards per play. Bates, with that information, said Lombardi 738, John Madden 759, and then Chamberlain 784. I think that's Guy Chamberlain. I could be wrong. So yeah, Nick Sirianni 4th best. But the Buffalo Bills coming in at number 9, Emilio. You think that's too high, too low? If someone else didn't tell me the criteria and said, here's my rankings, I go, that's way too low for Buffalo, right? Mm-hmm. Do you see it that way too, or am I giving them too much credit?
No, they're just so fluke, man. They lost to the Patriots. They lost to Miami, right? I just don't trust them. Josh Allen is basically their whole team. If he's off, that team's off, and their defense is built for a little bit more speed, not as thick and heavy. So they need to kind of play their game. And if it doesn't go well, I think they're going to struggle. I feel like they're kind of team that would need that home playoff game to make a run. Whereas if they go out on the road, I'm not so confident in them.
Yeah. And Randy, I see your super chat, buddy. We'll get that as soon as we're done with the power rankings, man. Appreciate you so much. Number 10, last one on the list, the Pittsburgh Steelers with an 11.5 score. Here's why Pittsburgh is there. They're 12th in winning percentage, 7th in offensive scoring, 10th in scoring defense. Okay. They are 19th in yards per play on offense, 17 in yards per play on defense, which tells you they must have a pretty good red zone offense, a pretty good red zone defense, essentially, right? And then, of course, they're 4th in turnover margin, which that's what Aaron Rodgers does. He protects that football, and you got Mike Tomlin helping coach up that defense, taking the ball away. So, again, the big thing that sticks out to me there, Emilio, is their red zone offense and red zone defense has got to be pretty good, and they're kind of middle of the road, mediocre when it comes to yards on offense, yards on defense, but that being 4th, being top 5 there in turnover differential is the big difference maker there. They are number 10 on the list.
And remember, all these are weighted even, right? So that does play in effect. But again, who's that quarterback protecting the ball? 12. That's why they're doing well. Their offense, I mean, aren't they second to last or last? Like, they don't push the ball down the field. He's not throwing deep routes. They're in 13 all the time. They're in 12 all the time.
Which, by the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but their tight end Washington, did you see what he said on that podcast?
No.
He weighs 310 pounds, tight end. And
that was the one that was just throwing dudes.
Yes.
Yeah, ran the dude over. Yep.
It's like, geez, Pete.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to say that while it was on my mind.
310 is, that's impressive, the way he can move like that. But again, that's an extra offensive lineman. They need to be able to run the ball. Rodgers is throwing, quick outs, flats. They're not getting vertical a ton, but they're making it happen. They're getting the wins. They could be scary if they can fend off the Ravens and get a home game, or get their foot in the door as a division winner, they could be scary in the playoffs. You could see that 2010 somehow the NFL scripts it to get us back there with them. I think Rodgers, he could carry them to that point.
Yeah, completely agree, man. So it's going to be fun to see what Pittsburgh does, man. I'm still holding out hope that we're going to have a Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl, man. That's what I want more than anything. You talking about the buzz, the hype around that. So if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments what you think about the power rankings that we put together. Again, these are evenly weighted. So if you think, no, overall record should be the number one determining factor, I completely understand. If you think points scored and points allowed should be the number one factor, I get it. Turnover differential, I get it. I just wanted to include more than just 3 or 4 stats, right? I wanted to throw a bunch of stuff in there and kind of get a good feel. It's more about the exercise of going across the chart and going, okay, this team does that well. Here's why they're winning. Boy, they're coaching really bad. Their team's playing their ass off, and they're somehow losing these games, right? Mm-hmm. So I just want to kind of hit it from that.
Before we hit that super chat, Chuck Jaggers Clay said, I'd rather not beat Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, Chuck. I can understand that. But for me, man, it's all about things coming full circle.
Yep.
Like, yeah. I just remember what it was like when a young Aaron Rodgers beat Brett Favre at Lambeau the year that we won the Super Bowl. They swept us the year before, we swept them the next year. It was special,
Absolutely.
And that's no ill will to Aaron. I love Aaron. You guys know I'm pulling for the Steelers every single week, right? But other than when they play the Packers, obviously, but I can understand that, though.
Yeah, no, I get it for sure.
Yeah. So, again, if you're watching this back later, let us know what you think about those top 10 rankings. Where were we off? Is there a team that you feel like should be in the top 10? Is there somebody in the bottom half of the top 10 that should be in the top 2 or 3? We want to hear from you in the comments. Make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Super chat from Randy. Thank you so much, buddy. Popped in late. Hope everyone's doing well. Wanted to hear your thoughts on this. How come we don't utilize pump fakes? Watch the all-22 and the way DBs jump routes. A simple pump and go would be money. Appreciate the super chat. Emilio, what's your take on that? Because I don't think it's just the Packers. I don't see hardly any quarterbacks in today's game throwing a lot of pump fakes out there. Do you?
Yeah.
Or is it just me?
No, I think you're right. You would think, all those VHSs I had of the football follies and all those, they were humming it every time you'd see them. You throw the whole shoulder into it. I don't think they just have enough time back there. Yeah, they probably still had fast sacks back then. I think just the rush is different. You're seeing things different, and you get a lot more RPO nowadays. That's more of a split-second decision where we get handoff or throw. It's got to come out of your hands. A lot of the offense is 2 seconds and out. 1-2 steps. There's not a bunch of under center 7-step drops all the way in wishbone. Whatever you're in, you get everybody peeling back there and then just humming it. But you that's a lot of time for him to get out there. Yeah, I'll throw a quick pump fake on the out route that's taking me 3 seconds to just backpedal, and then I can throw the up. But yeah, it would be cool. It's also, sometimes I don't even think it's feasible to even throw the quick pump. Yeah, you can get them on some if you got a second, but it's got to be, you're probably going to that side of the field anyway. You're probably, maybe you're pumping on a flood, and you maybe can try to get the safety to pull on the streak, and you hit the corner under the out underneath. But I don't think there's a bunch of it available.
Yeah, and again, I think, Randy, that you've seen it a lot in the 90s. Growing up, there was a pump fake on about every play, man, especially Favre. Favre was pumping that thing, no doubt about it. But today's game, it just seems like there's few and far between. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just, from the Packers standpoint, I don't look at it like, man, we don't pump as much as others, right? It just seems like across the league, it's more of a timing base. It's not, all right, let me get that DB to bite so I can throw here. It's more about the 1 to the 2 to the 3. Is it a high-low read? Is it a low-roll read? Is it just a pick a side?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how the game has evolved over the years. So, but I think it's a good observation, though, man. Like I said, I think it's just league-wide.
Mm-hmm. And also, you got man in hip pocket. How often are they looking back at the quarterback? It depends on what kind of defense you're playing against.
Yeah, and it's almost like it only works against zone because they're looking at the quarterback, right? That's where they'll bite. So maybe we should utilize some pump fakes in when we get a zone-heavy team. But again, the quarterback, I don't think they're getting to that level of thinking like, okay, they're in zone, their eyes are on me, let me throw a pump fake. They're still trying to figure out, okay, as the pass rush is bearing down, where am I going with the football? Is it man or is it zone? It's just get the ball out in rhythm, mechanics, all that stuff. So, yeah, but we appreciate you, Randy. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. All right, Emilio, let's do this. One last topic. We'll make this kind of a rapid fire segment. I want to give some love to Keyshawn Nixon. NFL Stats tweeted this out. Most passes defended through 11 weeks. Now, I'm assuming this is a pass breakup, most passes defended, right? Now, maybe that means also hitting the receiver as the ball gets there. Maybe that's what a pass defended is as opposed to a PBU. But nonetheless, Keyshawn Nixon is tied for the lead in the league with 14, with DJ Turner the second, also having 14. 2 behind them is Quinyon Mitchell. And then Michael Jackson has got 11, along with Tyson Campbell, Derek Stingley Jr., Joey Porter Jr., and Tyke Smith. So Keyshawn Nixon, man, one of only 2 guys with 14 pass breakups. I know he's not the perfect corner, but, man, he continues to impress me, man. I did not expect him to play this good on the outside when we moved him there.
Here's a guy.
He's been crushing it. He's gotten his opportunity. He's making the most of it. I remember when we were talking about we were mad that we paid him $6 million to be a kick returner, right? Or, and you get people upset that we even paid him that. Dude has been our number one outside corner out there. And he was talking in his presser every playoff game he's played in since he's been here. Carrington was on his side. CV gets those reps. I think he thinks he's a dog as well. You got to have a little bit of attitude when you're corner. And I think just a little bit more of that came out when Ja was on his way out, that, okay, Keyshawn can have a little bit of that jaw, but still back it up and play. We remember he got burnt on a couple wheels. He got burnt on a couple cover one mans. You're going to have that. And it's also the thing of, hey, corners are, I think Halfley said it, or you can play 60 snaps perfectly. If there were 63 on, defensive snaps and you gave up 2 catches and, you missed a pick, all those 3 are, everyone's watching you. They don't care that you made 5 tackles before on outside runs and all that stuff. Those 3 plays are what you're going to be remembered for. And he's been able to get his hands on the ball. If you can be around the ball, good things will happen.
Mm-hmm. Chuck Jagger's in here professing his love for me. He says, Clay, I love you so much. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm glad to be wrong, but I'm not a fan at all with, I think he's saying Keyshawn at cornerback.
With Key at cornerback, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect this, Chuck. Maybe it's something that I had lower standards than most fans. I honestly, when they said he was moving outside, I was like, man, I don't know how long this is going to last. And you guys heard me. I was going, all right, we signed Nate Hobbs. Let's get Carrington out there in place of Keyshawn. If it ain't a fit, then let him go back to returning kicks. But I've been pleasantly surprised with how he played. But he does say in key big moments, quarterbacks look for Key and throw his way. There's no doubt about that. As a matter of fact, I've got some numbers here. Let me drop this down. And he has been targeted, I think, 58 times. So, and that's a very good point, because that's typically a good indicator of how quarterbacks respect the corner or not, whether they're willing to throw their way, right? So when you break it down here, where is he? Right here. So Keyshawn Nixon, 58 targets, 34 catches. What's hurting his passer rating when targeted is the 3 touchdowns he's given up. Now, keep in mind, this is GPS tracking. So when you go watch the tape, maybe all 3 of those weren't on him. Hell, maybe there was a couple extra that were on him that he wasn't closest to him, but he blew a coverage, right? That could be the case as well. But he's got a 96 passer rating when targeted. That's tied for 109th in the league. You're probably going, damn, 109th best corner? That's all DBs, okay? So they don't differentiate on NFL Pro between corners and safeties. Typically, your safeties are at the top of the list. Right. So what you want to throw into effect here is it's 1, 2, both safety positions, right? And then 3 for the top corner, okay? So if that's the case, and he's ranked, 110th?
He was 90. He out of 96 then, right?
If we divide that by 3, that would make him probably somewhere around the 36th best corner in terms of not corner, corner, I guess you could say, 36th best corner in terms of passer rating when targeted, just generally speaking, right? I didn't expect that. Mm-hmm. I expected this dude to be like, he's probably going to be on the bench by the end of the year. I don't know if it's just knowing that he's got that luxury of having that extra defender that is the out of bounds line next to him, that he plays a little bit better, but he's definitely playing better outside than he did in the slot. And I don't think it's anything like what Coach Lynn is saying, K9 is fussy. I don't think it wasn't want to or hustle, right? It's just I don't know. I didn't expect him to be a natural outside corner. I'm happy with the way he's played, especially for the $6 million against the cap. You can't beat that. That's good money spent.
Yeah, because if you're including DBs as like you said, corners and safeties, a starting position for each of them, there's 128 spots right there. What's he 109 on that one? So
Right.
so he's a starting secondary player. If you want to look at just a number one, okay, he's 109, but out of 96, he's just on the outside being a number two. So either way you slice it, dude's basically a starting corner. Whereas before. I'm just glad we brought him over from the Raiders. Really, it's him, Jacobs, Raiders. Basically, we got a couple key cogs from them, and you look back at it and say, hey, that was a good pickup. Yeah, right at the moment when he first started, it wasn't great, but like Coach Lynn was saying here too, he's come a long way. That's the truth. He has come a long way for being an outside corner. And like Jen was saying, it's still his first full year at outside corner as well. Bingo. So there's just a lot of things that have been changing for him. Kind of like Bull, you get him moving around. You had Key in the slot, outside, in the slot, outside. Give him a spot, let him feel comfortable at it, and it's paid off. We're you're kind of getting rewarded with it, which is huge because we were screaming all off season, we need a corner, we need a corner. We didn't even touch it in the draft.
Right.
We didn't even touch it. So until the 7th round. So that's where you say, hey, you got to have confidence in your players at some point. You can't always get a piece of duct tape and patch a hole in the boat.
Right. Chuck says a big facts, Clayton. He's hitting above his weight class, but real wide receiver make him look pedestrian. And that's the thing too, is like, as you get a little deeper into the year, Chuck, maybe Hafley's going to start looking at it like, okay, Carrington's our best corner. So why don't, when we come out in these cover 6 looks, why don't we throw the 2 side to Carrington's side? Because we've seen him almost carry a little bit, no pun intended, on the Evan Williams interception. Like he'll break off of that and make plays. Keyshawn doesn't quite do that at that level. So why not have him on the cover 4 side so he doesn't have to do so much, right? And I'd have to look at the numbers. Maybe they're already doing that, right? But and Chuck went on to say, sorry, it wasn't supposed to be a dunk session. No, absolutely, man. No, I know it wasn't. And again, I think you make great points. I'm not saying he's like a true number 1 corner. I just think I had such low expectations that I'm pleasantly surprised with what he's done. Now, we say one of the big keys to determining whether a corner is good or not is these offensive coordinators, are they testing them, right? If they're testing them, they probably ain't got a whole lot of respect for them. That holds up here with Key. He's been targeted 58 times. That's 5th most in the league amongst all DBs, okay? Mike Jackson, another guy on that list with pass breakups, he's got targeted 59 times. So maybe the pass breakups is more along the lines of he's getting targeted a lot. That's why he's got more pass breakups, and that's something you need to take into effect too. So, again, I think he is playing – if you had to grade him, Emilio, poor, below average, right? Average, above average, good, very good, great, or elite, kind of in that, where would you put him? Would you say he's an average corner? Because I feel like he's at least above average.
Yeah, I was going to say good. I was going to say good. He's definitely feel like he's at the top of above average, if anything. I feel like he's a good corner. He's got that dog mentality. He's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid to get in your face. You can't have somebody that's going to walk, you can't have the dude that's been sitting on the side of the bench all year. You walks out there, dude's got butterflies in his stomach, can't even make a play, scared. You got grills of Justin Jefferson sitting across from you. You're getting blinded by that, and you can't cover the dude. That's an issue. You know what I mean? So I love that Key doesn't back down. You get up in his face. If you want to be the best, you want to play against the best, and he has that mentality. I think you got to be able to lean in on that.
Yeah, Joe Pack Joe says K9 would have been a hell of a DB in the 90s. He ain't scared to hit. That's a very good point. He plays the game. Now, listen, I'm not trying to say Keyshawn should be compared to a Hall of Famer, but there was 2 different styles of corners in the 90s, right? You had your Deons that didn't hit a lot, but boy, they were amazing as a shutdown corner. You had your Rod Woodsons, who were very physical. Keyshawn plays more along the line of a Rod Woodson, right? Willing to hit. And obviously Rod switched to safety later. Maybe that's something that might be good for Key later in his career too, is to play safety. I could see him being one of those hard hitting safety types too. So, but yeah, it's just really interesting to kind of dive into that stuff. And again, I'm happy with what he's done up to this point. Somebody else mentioned something in the chat. Gosh, I think I had it more. Here we go. older than dirt. I am too, by the way. He was in position for a pick Sunday. I love his attitude and effort. Again, we talked about that. Xavier McKinney unfortunately flashed that arm in front of him, trying to make a play on the ball.
Yep.
If Keyshawn picks that pass off in the end zone with that red zone interception, boy, oh boy, we're talking about, okay, maybe he's taking the next step, right? And
that's the other thing. Looking at his numbers, Clay, what's that interception column? Yeah, he's got 3 touchdowns, but he's got no picks. I mean, that's going to give him a boost right there. Everybody else, I mean, half the other people got 1, 2, 3. I mean,
right.
We just need the turnovers. The whole defense, not just Key. The whole defense needs them. We need to have that. That needs to be a part of this team. It needs to and it's going to come. It's a game of runs. It's going to come in bunches. And when it starts happening, we're going to be excited because they're going to start rolling in.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. So there you go. There's just a little look at Keyshawn. I wanted to hit that because I thought it was interesting that stat came up, and now he's back in the lead for pass breakups. And again, I know some of it has to do with the fact that he's getting targeted a lot. But I want to know what you guys think about it. It's been a great conversation with the chat. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about Keyshawn Nixon? Would you say he's a number 1 corner? Would you say he's a number 2 corner? Maybe you think he's not even a number 2 corner. He's a backup caliber corner. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Deadfish says above average. We'll see how he does this week. Amen. Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's very fair.
Right. Said good.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Y said, I love that K9 gets in wide receivers' heads.
He does. And listen, I got to be real with you, though, Jason. I bet I've said at least 6 or 7 times this season at the top of my lungs, Keyshawn, shut the hell up. Like you're going to get flagged.
He's screaming at the TV, man. He's over here. What happened?
I am so nervous, man, because he jaws so much. I'm like, when he gets flagged, y'all are going to hear me rant because it's coming. But, again, he does get in their head, and that's just how he plays the game, man.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of it.
Yeah, Jason Wise loving it. I'm over here pulling my hair out. So,
Clay, you were a trash talker, and come on now. I know you were trash talking when you were out there.
No. I did not talk trash, but I had a hell of a temper. Like I was the dude that I wasn't going to say anything, but if you ran your mouth to me, oh yeah, dude, you're getting ear hole.
Yeah. If
you square around the bunt, my eyes would go. The peripheral would catch up that square around the bunt. My eyes would go from the mitt right to the ear hole, and And going into second, it's okay for me to take you out in a double play, but you better not get your cleats nowhere near me. I'm ready to fight. Like I was a spoiled brat in that regard, man. Yeah. I didn't talk, but boy, I got mad.
I used to talk a little bit of smack, Clay. That's how you get in the head, man. That's how you get in the head.
Ever play this game?
Well, yeah. Well, that and in lacrosse, I mean, sitting there on defense, you got your guy, right? So you're sitting there, you just kind of got your stick on. You're just kind of making sure he's there. When the ball's in the offensive end, you're just kind of standing there. So you just got to, dude, what's up with those socks you got on right there? I mean, that's the last time you washed those things. It's just like, you just a little bit, just get them thinking.
Yeah. It's funny too, because there's a guy, I won't mention his name because I know his name too, because he's one of my favorite opponents in high school. He played for a rival team, Kwood. And anytime somebody got a hit and they came around, if they made it to second, I played short. If I played shortstop, I'd let them know, hey man, good hit, man. Good hit. Like, I love people who played the game the right way. And listen, we're going to get your ass out next time, but good hit, right? Just good sportsmanship, right? And it's funny because he said he told his mother, who ran a business back home in the town I lived in, and he went to high school about 30 minutes away, which we played them as rivals. And I went into her business one day. She said, my son just absolutely adores you. He says you're one of his favorite opponents. You're real respectful. This and that. I was like, I appreciate that, whatever, And it was funny too because his teammate was one I about got into a fist fight over him taking me out at second. So it's like you play the game the right way. I was happy with it. You know what I mean? I got along with people.
Yep.
But if I felt like you were a pretty boy, and this boy was, I want to say his name so bad. His teammate was such a pretty boy, and of course I beat him out for all district that year. So
yeah. Oh yeah, no, yeah, and it's not like I didn't. I mean, it was just a little smack talk here and there. I love to. I mean, I wanted to hit people. Trust me, seeing snot bubbles was what we were looking for. So, you back it up with the play, you back it up with the scoreboard for sure. But you got to just get in the head a little bit, just a little bit.
Absolutely. 2 over this says, I'm too uncoordinated to play baseball. I accidentally kicked the guy in the face, sliding to third. That's the way you're supposed to do it, though. Go in there, Spock's up, man. You know what I mean? You're good. But it's funny you say that because when it came to baseball, I was coordinated. I could put just enough pressure with one finger on the ball to get the proper spin pitching. It was just you put me. I mean, you get me out there trying to play a guitar or something. Oh my God, I am so.
Yeah, I'll bring the sticks up next time. We can play catch. We'll play some lacrosse out in the yard.
Oh my God, there ain't no way. I don't know if I could do that. I probably could pick it up a little bit.
Yeah, you could.
That's field hockey, right?
Yeah. It's just standing up field hockey. Yep.
Jason Wine in the chat says a couple of my closest friends I got into fights with when I first met them. It's funny you say that. First baseman, name's Travis. Shout out to Travis. We ran into each other, unfortunately, at a funeral the other day. It's been a couple of months ago now. One of Mandy's family members passed away. He came to the funeral, and it wasn't 48 hours later, me and Mandy were like, let's go check out the casino. We'd never been to the casino here locally. We went to the casino. I'm at the bar. Somebody comes up behind me and starts rubbing on me on my shoulders and stuff. I'm like, all right, who is this? And I turn around. So I knew I smelled your cologne, you creeper. So it was Trav. We hated each other. When we first met, we got into a fight in an all-star. We were on the same team, Little League All-Stars. We got into a fight. It was Little League All-Stars. We got into a fight in the dugout, and our coaches had to break us up. Hated each other. Ended up being best friends. So Same thing, Jason. Same, man.
That's how it happens.
Yep. All right, enough killing time here. We're done. Emilio, I appreciate your time tonight, man. Anything else you want to hit before we wrap up?
No, man. We got big divisional here, another divisional in a few days after. That's it. That's season starts, like Belichick says, after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I'm going to say the week before right now because it's important the way the schedule is laid out now.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate you, Jason. Thank you so much, man. Everybody in here, thank you all for hanging out with us. Chuck Jaggers, #thanks, Mandy. Thanks, Mandy. Appreciate you, huh?
Thank you, Mandy.
So, yeah, y'all probably see her before me. She ain't talking to me, right? But we'll be back tomorrow, guys, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live. If any news breaks during the day, I'll jump on and chat with you guys about it. Hopefully we get Jaden Reed back to practice today. He wasn't back out there. We were kind of holding out a little hope that he would after the tweet and everything yesterday. I think we're really close. It might be another game, though, before we see him out there. We originally said Thanksgiving, so maybe that's what they're trying to work towards, right? So we'll see what happens. But everybody, thank y'all so much for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. It helps more than you know. And, y'all stay warm out there. Was it warm down your way today?
Was it warm? I was sweating, Clay.
Yeah, I got hot too, man. I started the morning off with the bibs froze to death, and by noon I was sweating. I was stripping off clothes like Jacob on the pole. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But, all right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a great night. Hit that like button for us. And we will do the giveaway tomorrow, I promise. And here's what we got. A jersey card. Josh Jacobs jersey card is pretty sweet, right? A little jersey patch in there. So we'll give that away to one lucky Patreon member or YouTube member here. We'll put everybody's name on the wheel and spin it. So check out our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. The best way to support us here. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Emilio cycled through the phone number and everything. You the man. Look at you.
We try.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.